Welcome, fellow wizards, to the Heart Cave. My name is Brendon, and I am joined by my beautiful, immaculate, psychedelic partner, Lacey, a fellow wizard. Lacey, go ahead and say hello to the beautiful wizards out there.
Hello.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. This is episode 1 of Magic of the Heart Cave, and this is an idea that both of us have just really felt inspired to be able to do, where it's basically a chance for us and for you to be able to hang out as we get to explore some really cool metaphysical, spiritual, consciousness expanding topics. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to dive into this. And in our first episode, we're going to start off with the idea of the role of the conscious artist. So we'll do a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll get right into that topic. Lacey, do you want to just share anything off the top, a little bit about some of the intention going into this discussion and this podcast, and anything else you'd like to say to all the other wizards out there?
Yeah, sure. I know with the intention going in, we just wanted to dive deeper into getting to know ourselves and explore a lot of different topics, but yeah, about the conscious artist. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, for those of you who haven't really gotten a chance to meet us yet, both Lacey and I are conscious artists. So this is a natural starting point for us to be able to just kind of talk about things that not only are we familiar with, but we live it. We're very passionate about it. And of course, if you guys are looking to be able to connect with us further, both of us are on Instagram. You can find all the links in this video. You can find me at Mystic Spider-Man. You can find Lacey at the Paper Druid. And both of us got Patreons, and both of us got some cool item shops. And you guys are welcome to be able to connect further there and send us a DM afterwards and let us know that you guys got to tune into this episode. So with that said, we'll dive right into this. And part of the thing with this podcast is we really want to just be able to keep this kind of concise and 45 minutes, and we don't really have this plan, and that's part of the organic nature of it, just be able to show up and to really practice being in the heart cave, and that's a big theme about what this is about being able to honor the magic of the heart cave, and maybe even just take a moment here when we think about the heart cave, Lacey, and we'll kind of segue this into the topic. What are we talking about when we're talking about the heart cave and the magic of the heart cave?
Yeah, the magic of the heart cave, I think of a place that you go to be your most like authentic self, free of like insecurity or judgment. A place where almost like childlike, like that's what I think of, like the heart cave. It's like a playful place.
Yeah.
Where we get to express ourselves. So um, yeah, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, totally, and it's very much a reference from Ram Dass. He literally uses this term, and that's where both of us, when again, this is the thing. Like for everyone listening to this, Lacey and I, like we hang out a fair bit, and we have plenty of discussions, and we're just sitting there. We're just like, man, I bet other people would love to just be able to like hang out with us and listen to these discussions and just geek out over all these like trippy metaphysical psychedelic ideas. And so that's why we're here to do this, to be able to share some of the conversation and to invite you to be a part of it, so that you can literally get to hang out with us, so that we can get to know each other a little bit more, and at the end of the day, to be able to inspire each of us as the wizards we are, and to really be able to share in that journey back to the heart cave. And so we'll start off with this first topic of the role of the conscious artist, and maybe let's just even create a moment here to be able to just talk a little bit about what is the conscious artist, who is the conscious artist, what do they do, and we'll kind of just see where the conversation goes, and I'm sure it'll just naturally kind of fractal out beyond that. So Lacey, maybe you can just kind of start us off. When you think of the role conscious artist, what do you think of? Like, I mean, you see yourself as a conscious artist. What does that mean to you?
I would think that like the conscious artist is someone who is, yeah, like shifting consciousness on the planet. It's coming through them through that medium. And I mean, there's so many different types of art that we can bring more consciousness to the planet. So yeah, I just think it's a way for us to help other people see that in themselves, be a mirror. So they look at your art, or they see, like, listen to your words, and they can, it's almost like it's a spark. It like lights a
Hmm.
spark in someone else. It
Hmm.
inspires them. So yeah, I guess that's the role of a conscious artist, is someone who inspires others to see
Hmm.
that in themselves. So yeah.
Yeah. There's an idea I've talked about this. We've talked about this.
Mhm.
But even an artist is no longer just someone who paints pictures and everything like that. The concept of what an artist is has naturally evolved over the years, especially with these new mediums and technologies that we have. But at its core, I think it is always. I like the idea that the word art is literally in the word heart. So here we have this idea of being an artist is like being a heartist is a term that I've heard
Mhm.
before. So to be an artist is to be someone who is naturally connected with the heart. And so as we naturally connect with our own heart and go through our own spiritual journey, there's something inside of us that seems to compel us to want to be able to share this wisdom with others. We go through our own personal revelations. We have dreams, psychedelic experiences, synchronicities. All of these things seem to happen. Visions, visions of beautiful worlds and futures and things. And it's like just naturally something that I think as a conscious artist, it's also understanding that we're very much the conduit for this inspiration, this vision that's kind of like coming through us. It's very much kind of working alongside spirit and kind of almost like releasing ownership over what it is that we're creating, but still allowing ourselves to dance alongside the ego through the creative process and still be proud of what it is that we create, because it does take there's different types of art, but some art can take months and months and months. Some art can literally just be an on the spot like conscious flow tree or a poem or whatever it is. It's very subjective. So again, art, like if we say like what is art, art is if I were to answer this in some way or another, it's a mirror for us to see ourselves. And if you look back at artists of the past, that was always the idea. Art would depict things in culture and society, and people would look at the art, and I love the idea that when we look at art, we always see something different. We see it through our perception, we see it through ourselves. And as conscious artists, undeniably for us, I know personally, I've been inspired by visionary artists of people like Alex Gray and all of these many artists before us, and again even people such as Ram Dass and Alan Watts, who were in many ways artists with their words, artists with the way they just communicated and invited people into these visions. But yeah, being a conscious artist, again, I think is about literally being a bridge between the material world and the spirit world as well. What do you think, Lacey?
Yeah, I think, wow, really beautifully summed up. You put that into words really well. I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I think I'm like, I just got sucked in there for a second, but it's pretty amazing that we're able to access this stuff now. Like, imagine, like, if it was like 1,000 years ago, we would have been like,
Mm-hmm.
would we have access to the same type of art that we do today? And we wouldn't, it would be like
Mm-hmm.
reserved for only like people of high caliber,
Mm-hmm.
like that's an interesting thing to think about is, you know, I think I watched something where they only would show art to people that were like higher up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now we all have a chance to see ourselves through that lens. And we also, I think that everybody is an artist. I really truly believe that. And I think it's not just reserved for the talented or for, like I think it's for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So the more that we get to, like me and you and whoever's listening,
Mm-hmm.
express ourselves, and pretty much embody art, be the embodiment of it.
Yeah.
Like, how do we live our lives? How are we going about our day? How are we interacting with other people? It's all an art form. So, and it's all, yeah, consciousness. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 and I think from there, it's just kind of there's a lot of different ways in which this conversation could unfold. But I think
Mhm.
again, just to be able to take a moment here to be able to personally talk about the inspiration behind our art, and even still, you know, how our art, that's a weird word to say there, art. It's kind of losing its meaning by the time I keep saying it so much. But nonetheless, to just kind of think about, you know, like the ways in which we have continued to be inspired by our art over the years, and how it has evolved, and how it has literally evolved alongside with us. And again, that's where you get into this idea that you know, as a video person, a person who makes videos and lots of other stuff that I do. I remember there was a point where, like, as I was editing certain videos, where eventually through direct experience, it began getting to the point where, you know, I would go out and I would film something. It would be something like a rally or something like that, or a festival, you know, the Journey to Lucidity movies I've done. And by the time that I get to the finishing point on the editing sequence, it's like what I made felt as if it was always going to be that. As an artist, my role was to kind of like walk the material world through the process up to that point, and to really much be kind of like in my open heart space, in my intuition, and to really be able to like trust in this process. But the idea there that I just want to be able to emphasize is this idea that, you know, in many ways it's almost, you know, start getting into like reverse time theory here, where it's like, does the art already exist from a nonlinear perspective, and here we are again just kind of birthing it into this world. Like the art almost has this consciousness, this identity, because it's not just an image on a piece of paper. It actually has an energy to it. It has an idea, it has a vibration. And again, you know, with a lot of your art, which I'd love to just, again, for you to be able to just tell people more about it, how it's inspired by visions of dreams and everything like that, and how it's evolved over the years. Yeah, like what inspires your art, Lacey?
Um, wow, quite a lot. I would say, you know, if I go back like in my life and look at young Lacey, I've always been someone to express myself artistically. And I definitely have dabbled in just about everything. So um, recently, the past like 3 years, when I started to get into the new medium that I'm working with, I was finally, it was almost like a aha moment. It was just like, whoa, like this is like, I can finally not only show people who I am, you know, because people only see so much. I could finally show them what's going on inside of me. And like that was like so rewarding for me, because now I was able to move more into like my authentic like self and my truth and like my purpose on this planet. So yeah, my art is inspired by my life experiences, trauma, psychedelic medicine, and dream time. Um, all of these moments in time that have brought me more clarity and deeper awareness. So usually I'm like, I want to express it in a way that's easy to digest the best that I can. Although, like, I think we had a talk where, like, yeah, my stuff is pretty, like, it's still pretty out there, but I think that a lot of people can see themselves in it. So that's the whole reason why I make the art that I make. I hope that people realize that they are the creator, and like my art is also an extension of them, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it's like I make it for everyone. Might not Everyone might not like it, but it actually hopefully is planting a seed like, whoa, like that's really cool. I've never thought of it like that, or I didn't know you could do those things. Can you like travel through time and space? Like, is this just science fiction or is this real? So
Yeah.
um yeah.
Yeah, no, that's beautifully said. And again, just as context, for those of you who aren't familiar with Lacey's art, again, many different mediums that she works in. One of the primary ones being like collage art, which again she uses to depict very psychedelic inspired dream like images. And And what I love about not just your art, but obviously I love your art, but again, so much of the art that we see is that art has this primordial language to it, and it's a language of symbols, and so I think that's why art within a relative context literally transcends limitations of language, and things
Mm,
like that. Like you could have a person who could speak one language and they could draw a beautiful image and they could show it to people from all over the world, and everyone would be able to interpret it and understand it and feel it. And so again, kind of really drawing ourselves back to this idea that from the bigger picture, I love the idea that we are literally consciousness doing what it can to help wake itself up. And I think for those of us who have gone through these processes of spiritual awareness and awakening, and we're always awakening, we're always going through this journey. It's this natural calling to want to be able to help others do the same. And so when we're making art, what I see it as, and in many ways, one piece at a time, it's literally leading people back to their heart. It's leading people home, like quite literally. And sometimes it can be like big and bold, and again, it might be in the form of a movie, and it might be incredibly like blatant and obvious, but at the same time, even just an image in itself, just giving people the opportunity to be able to see that, and for them to be able to see themselves in it, and for them to be able to see the symbolism of it, and to reflect on it, and to meditate on it. And that's the thing, right? Like art, when it's really created with intention, becomes its own meditation, not just for the people creating it, but for also the people receiving it as well, which I think is incredibly beautiful. And again, I think in your art, I love seeing that kind of like the symbolism
mhm.
showing up in a rising and everything. Yeah, again, if you want to jump in with anything, go ahead. Again, I'm just kind of like
Yeah,
talking.
for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely is based a lot in symbolism, archetypes too, and a lot of things that I think are already inside people. So I'm hoping when I create some like a piece of art, whether that's through analog collage, digital stuff, poetry, writing, so on and so forth. I want them to like really feel it. I want them
Mm,
to see themselves. So
yeah.
I'm I'm just so happy that I get to follow this path of an artist. I know for a long time. If anyone listening can relate, didn't see that in themselves. Um, maybe had trouble um, holding themselves up in that way. Uh, it can be a little scary because it is like a lot of what you said. It's like it's a big role. I mean, the planet wouldn't be what it is without artists. Um, we create magic and we bring magic to the planet. So it's like it's a big role. So I know for a
Mm,
long time I kind of pushed it away and didn't want to fully embrace it, but I feel so blessed to be surrounded by other artists like yourself and to have just met so many people that have encouraged it and pushed me to really just go out there and just do what feels right to me, like through
mm.
that through art. Um, and not worry about whether or not it will be recognized, but just know that it's making a difference. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
no,
awesome.
it's very like literally like it's not even just like awesome, like it's off full, like it's not just like some awe, it's like full of awe. I mean,
It's full
that's
of awe.
it's like a dad joke there. But
I
anyways,
love
daddy Brendon joke. But
it.
one of the things I was gonna say is like just as trying to really be able to sit with the idea of how powerful art is. It's like try imagining a world without art. Like, what would that look like? What would that look like? And again, I think even that question is actually quite interesting to ponder, because if you really start to kind of sit with that question, if we're perceiving it through the lens of mankind and everything like that, it might become this idea of like dullness and edges and sharp corners and everything like that. But when we kind of take the step back, it's like, oh my goodness, like is this world art, is literally like
Mhm.
the nature of this reality art. When you look at the forest and you look at sunsets and you look at flowers and everything like that, is that not art? Is nature literally expressing art by default? And so
Mhm.
again, it's only like art is our native expression. And it's only through man getting into these habits that we kind of repress the rate at which we express that. And yet even still, even in those repressed states, that might just be one chapter of a bigger story of the awakening process of the artist. It kind of, and when you think of like kind of like, I don't know, like dystopian movies where they're like don't feel, don't feel, don't feel, and then it's all like dark and gray, but then out of that like the artists still emerge. It's something like that that's in our heart that we can't hold back. And so again, I think as those of us who are listening to this, fellow wizards, to really just be able to give ourselves permission to play with that energy, knowing that it is who we are. Like, it is spirit. Like, spirit moves through us, and we call it art, but again, what is it? It is heart, it is magic. It is what we are, it is our nature, it is our expression. This reality is nothing less than a mirror test. It's being able to see yourself in your surroundings. And again, what we need to be able to do as the role of the conscious artist is to put these mirrors up around people through the work of our art so that they can see themselves. Because I think nowadays, if you look at a lot of the social media and the news and all of these things, it'd be hard to call that art. If anything, that's just like a kind of a distorted version of art that doesn't really inspire. It entrances, but it doesn't like, it pulls us away from our own creativity. But again, it's not just it's how you use the tool, it's how you use the medium and everything. But yeah, I think again, for us as conscious artists, there is a shift in consciousness that is happening right now. And the more that we can get our art out there, the more that other people will be able to not only be inspired by it, but merely to be inspired by the action of its creation. Especially for those of us who may be quite new to even thinking of ourselves as an artist, and that's where, even just by us having this discussion, I hope by the time people are done with it, I really invite you to really just be able to honor the artist that you already are. If you are here existing, listening, learning alongside us, then you are an artist. You are this spiritual being having this multidimensional, what we refer to as the human experience. And so how can we as artists continue to not only create, but also to be able to inspire others, to be able to play with these energies, to be able to develop their own relationship, and again, to be this there's kind of like levels that we evolve through as an artist. There will kind of be like certain parts where it's just kind of you're just playing, you're doodling, it's almost like a child. But then as you start to begin to see more of the bigger picture, you begin to see how art becomes a very powerful medium for specific messages. So when you look at the world, for me as an artist, it's always important to kind of reflect on that question of like, what is needed. And when we think about that, it's like, oh, like people need to be able to see the beauty in the world. People need to be able to receive a message that will help them heal, that will nurture them, that will expand their mind, open into new realms of possibility and magic. And how do I do that? 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 And again, what I think is interesting is that when we allow ourselves to kind of ask these questions, we begin to arrive in a place where we work as an ally with the creative process, where it no longer becomes this thing that we're trying to force out of us, but it becomes something that naturally flows out of us. And so I think our role as the conscious artist is to actually be able to create the environment for this flow to occur. And this happens both within our own lives individually through, our space, physically cleaning our room, putting things around us that inspire us, incubating this energy, surrounding ourselves with community of other people who are on a shared path, taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, meditation, all of these things. Like, all of these things allow us so that when the time comes, and it's just like, okay, time to do some art, and we just kind of get in that zone. It's like dialing a switch, and you just kind of like, okay, universe, what do you want me to do today? And I think the other thing, and I'll just say here, and I'll just inviting you to share any thoughts on anything I've shared. Again, I think with art, it's actually a very powerful process for dissolving the ego, dissolving limiting beliefs, right? People oftentimes they don't engage with their creative expression side, probably because at some point along their journey, someone told them that they weren't good enough, or wasn't worth it. I remember this. I remember even when I was younger, it was like grade 6, and I took music class, and I took the flute, and I was so happy. I was so happy to be able to take the flute. But I wasn't very good at it. But at the same time, my teacher, like, I basically flunked that class, and I just remember like how disheartening that was. And even for then, it took me a while to just really even be able to feel comfortable to get back into music and to really be able to play. And I think that's the big thing with art, is to understand that like art literally is this energy that is very playful, it's this kind of like divine feminine energy. The male energy, this kind of rigid container, can create the space for the art to take place in. But again, the art itself, it kind of moves through us best when we let the ego just kind of stand off to the wayside. We open up our heart and we allow it to just kind of move through us like water, with the intention of it just being something to practice. And oftentimes we do that, and we'll surprise ourselves. We're like, whoa, like that came out of me. Like, whoa, I wrote that song. Like, whoa, like I drew that piece of picture. Like I drew that painting. Like I didn't even know like that was something that I had inside of me. And I think that's the thing, is that when we do that, it actually, and I'll just say this, as an artist, through the process of creating art, it actually allows us to meet more of who we are. Like I know I've said it's like art is a way for us to see more of ourselves, but as the artist, when you're just like, I made that, and it's just like, whoa, what else am I capable of? And
Mhm.
how can I continue to grow this and to evolve it, and to tune it, to refine this process? So like so then again, as we move into this role where it's like, okay, dear universe, I'm working alongside you to be able to help create art to inspire others and change the world. And then when we're doing the additional work, such as our dream practices and our meditations, that's where the visions come through. And so I think, again, for the artist, part of our role is to literally be an ambassador for these higher conscious ideas. Like, quite literally, the universe will be like, hey, here's an idea, can you materialize this for us, so that we can show it to others, so that they can expand their mind and know what's possible. Lacey, anything you want to just say? Because I know I said a few things there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you touched on a lot of really awesome points. Yeah, like being an artist, um, a conscious artist, you want to fully embody it. Yeah, like you said, like every day, like we wake up with that like link to source, to spirit. And I think we should not put so much pressure on ourselves that we have to um, fill a role or anything like that. That's not what I'm getting at, but more so just, yeah, like that playfulness, letting it come through you, knowing that everything you create is an extension of you. And it's, like you said, you get to know yourself better. I've gotten to know myself over the years so much through art. Um, it's, you know, you do the medicine, for example, or you take the journey into the unknown through dream time, whatever it may be. And that's one step on the path to knowing yourself. It's like you have to like dig your hands into it. You need to like really, really figure out what else is in there, because for myself personally, I noticed that like for example, when we were up on the land and we did a medicine ceremony up there, and it was so beautiful. And we're tapped into source, and we're with community that's like-minded, and there's so much going on. But I felt like there was this this thing inside of me that I didn't know how to fully express at the time, and it made me quite nauseous. It made me quite ill. And then throughout the day, I sat with it, and I was like, okay, how can I express this artistically? How can I get this
Mm,
pit out of me?
mm,
Like quite like this cold, this heavy rock,
mm,
because that's what it felt like. And the only way that I could get it out of me was by art, by expressing it through poetry, through
mm,
writing. And that's what I did. And I wrote with no expectation. And like, okay, like I might not be sharing that with the world, but like that is going to help me like further on my own path. I think she
mm.
left. I heard someone come in. She might have let the dog in. Anyways.
Okay, no
But
worries.
anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think like that's like we have to do, am I making sense? Like we have to do the work. Like
Yeah.
the work is there. The art is another step on that path. It helps us get further because, the medicine only takes us so far. We have to go inwards. We have to ask the hard questions. We have to look at the shadow. We have to look at so much inside of us to really let that come out. So I've been doing my own shadow work. Um, and for me it's like an artistic expression. Like I get
Mm,
to travel through time while I do it. I get to see all these different aspects of myself that may no longer be with me. Like, like I've grown a lot since then. So that's another type of like that's art right there. Like that's like me expressing myself for me so I can transmute that stuff, grow
mm.
from it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's so amazing to again, like art is so healing on a personal level, and again, the fact that it can heal us on a personal level, it just makes you wonder, like it's like, can it heal the collective? And it absolutely can. And,
yeah.
and I think a big thing that I'm personally a fan of when it comes to art is also the storytelling that goes alongside with it, and this is where I really I, I lean into some pretty significant themes, such as like the hero's journey and everything, and I love being able to create art and meta art that's not even just one thing alone, to really be able to create art that spans across multiple pieces of content that tells a bigger story, that people may not even fully see, but if they kind of experience bit by bit by bit, they've been watching my TikTok videos for this one after another, and suddenly they've kind of become a part of this extension of the art is a story, that they themselves become a part of, as well. And so, again, it's really up to us to kind of like pick and choose, how we define art, and I think that will be a personal thing, because I think it's okay for us to be able to look at journaling and look at dream journaling as either art or a part of the artistic process, as a part of the crystallization process, the brainstorming process, going out for a walk in nature, getting inspiration, watching movies, spending time with people that we care about. That is still a part of the artistic process, because we're nurturing ourselves, we're tending to those parts of ourselves that need that substance, and then out of that, it kind of like comes into us, moves around within us, and then it comes out of us, it moves through us. So again, we as humans, we naturally birth things into reality, physically and also metaphysically as well. And so as the artist, this is a big part of what it is that we do, and I think it's okay for us as an artist to really be able to honor the incubation process. It can take time. It can take time for us to really be able to have even just like an inkling of like feeling something inside of us that we want to create something or do something more, and then just kind of being patient with that process, nurturing it over time, and then next thing we're making YouTube videos, or we're creating stories, or we're writing things. It's an ongoing journey, and again, I think it's something that is so it's so present within the physical, but it is also incredibly metaphysical. It literally is spiritual. It's a way for even you start getting into this idea where it's very much akin to almost channeling for a lot of people, where it's just like, whoa, like I didn't even know what this was going to be until I started working on it, and then by the time I'm done, it's like you're seeing it happen and unfold right before your eyes. And I see this sometimes where it's just like I don't even know what I'm going to make, but I feel inspired to make something. The universe wants me to show up in this moment. Let's meet it halfway, and let's allow whatever is inside of this moment to be able to come forth and to play and to arise as well. Lacey, any thoughts on that or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's actually a lot like how I do my own work is
Yeah.
I never really set out with a particular idea. I just know that I feel like I want to express something.
Hmm.
Sometimes it might be based on purely on an emotion, like love. Um, but yeah, I think like it's so cool. You just go and you have like your tools, and then like the art unfolds, and you're like, whoa, like that just came through. And it makes sense as you're looking at it. You're like, okay, like this has been something that's been going on inside of me. That's really amazing. Yeah, I wanted to share this little quote that I wrote down, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'd love to
Um,
hear it.
so it says, imagination is the most powerful force available to humankind. And I've just been reading this book, and I was like, wow, I really resonate with that, and makes me think about imagination and makes me think about storytelling and how it quite literally like alters reality.
Hmm.
When we look back in time and we look back to the first people that, you know, had their tribes, the villages, their tribes and villages were based around like art, music, dance, ceremony, ritual. All these things brought people closer together, and they also like shifted like paradigms, like
Hmm.
created new realities on this
Hmm.
planet. Just like one person hitting a drum changed the whole planet. Like when you look that far back and you just see, you're like, whoa, like it is, it is us. We are it. Like it's meant to move through us. We are meant to express it. And we live in such a weird world now where, some in my early days of psychedelic exploration, I found myself wandering some big cities, surrounded by these big buildings. And, um, like I think I walked by like an army place once, and, there's like tanks. And in my introspection, I was just like, wow, like everything felt so sterile. Like everything felt so um, mechanical in nature. And but it was so weird. You would look at it and it would stay that way. Like you'd be in a higher state, but like these man-made things that were so cold, they didn't have soul. It was so bizarre to
Hmm.
me. And but then you looked, if you went off the beaten path and you walked off into the woods or went down to the river, spirit would ooze out of
Hmm.
the earth. Like it's mind blowing to me. And like that's just such a good example of how like society now is like really kind of doesn't appreciate the artist. It's like it's almost like these two worlds that are like living side by side. I mean, we need both of them. They help us grow, but it was just fascinating observation when I was a lot younger then, and I was just like, this is weird. Like
Hmm.
it makes sense, but like when you're fully seeing it like energetically in that way, you're like, holy shit, like this is
Hmm.
trippy. Like what the hell? These like cities are so weird. We're so divided, and more
Hmm.
now more so than ever, with everything that's going on. But yeah, I'm just kind of going off on a tangent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
It is, and again, just keeping in mind we're kind of moving into the final part of the episode here, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of big ideas. This is where again, it's powerful to just sit with this idea of literally acknowledging the fact that art is magic. Like
Mm,
literally, we change reality through the creation of our art. We manifest reality. We align with future possibilities. We
mhm,
bridge worlds. We expand our relationships with with our OU alien friends and everything like that. It helps us kind of like make the world a smaller place by bringing in these ideas that were once just kind of floating around, and yet here they are materialized, and we can share them. We can send them to each other, and we can join in this meditation of reflecting and being inspired. And so again, as the artist, I think our role is going to be relative in every circumstance, but at the end of the day, I think to inspire, to entertain, and to educate is a great way to just be able to simplify it, and again to be able to I love this idea, and I was thinking about this earlier. The idea that art has this energy to it that literally has the ability to elicit emotion, as if the art has emotion kind of encoded into it. So it's like, what emotion are we putting into our art? And people feel that. People feel that. Like if you were to just see a piece of art and just like look at it and be like, what was the person feeling when they made this? And be like, like let me think about this. Like you could actually like kind of like see into like this like space that they were in when they created it. So it's like actually seeing through like a hologram. When you look at the art, and it becomes a hologram of the artist as well. And I think this is such a powerful idea, just to be able to kind of like reflect. And that's where again, us having this conversation, we just want to be able to remind people that there is this artist in each and every single one of us, and in the midst of a world that is kind of polarized by these what seem to be opposing narratives, where things can seem like dire and cold. Let us bring warmth and line and love and kindness and inspiration into what it is that we do. Again, to be able to see our art as medicine. Medicine that is literally nurturing the spirit. If people were to literally just go about their day and never receive art, it would deplete them. The soul needs that. We need art as much as we need sunlight, food, water, friends, social interaction, sleep, all of these things. We literally need art, and without it, it will continue to kind of just move us into another version of reality, one a little bit more disconnected. Again, it's not to say what's right and what's wrong, but I think for a lot of us, within our heart, we just naturally feel called to want to be able to alleviate suffering, and to help
mm,
others really be able to see and connect to that emotion and that feeling of magic that we can express through our art, and use art as prompts and mirrors and guidance and storytelling and reflection. And the other thing I'll just say here, and then we'll get into some closing thoughts. And again, just passing it over to you, Lacey, is the idea of, you're talking about the idea of the imagination. And this is where, again, really leaning into the theme of the wizards. And that's why we're here in this podcast. This is the magic of the heart cave. This is a great first topic. This powerful idea that, what is the imagination, right? Like nothing that we create does not start off first within the imagination. And that's kind of what I was talking about, this etheric space, where it's kind of outside of time and we can see things. But I love the idea that the word imagination, if you were to look at it and kind of dissect the language of it, it's literally like nation of the magi. So to be in the process of tapping into our creative expression is to literally be in the process of tapping into the magi, the wizard that we already are. And I think again, that's something that we can evolve in doing as we get going along the way. And I think as we do that, there's kind of stages where we're working as an artist, and it's part of our journey, and it will always be a part of our journey. But then our role as an artist becomes bigger than us. Our art is actually something that is meant to be shared, that is meant to be seen, that is meant to help people with their healing and their inspiration, and to show them what's possible. I remember when at the time when Alex Gray, when his art was coming out and a lot of people were seeing it for the first time, it was creating a visual image of something that people had experiences of, but they couldn't describe it. They couldn't put it into words. And here it was, this visual representation of this again, this realm beyond words, this ineffable realm, here in space, in time, for us to be able to touch and feel and reflect and talk about as well. And I think that's another thing where it's like art is meant not just to be but to be seen, but to also be talked about and reflect about, and to allow a piece of art to actually evolve into the conversations that come out of the piece of art, which then in turn inspire more art as well. So yeah, again, I just really honor every single person here, wherever you are along your journey, and thank you for being the artist and the heartist and the wizard, and we hope that this continues to inspire you along your path as well, because there is art inside of you that will change the world, that already has changed the world, and we just are here to be able to help support it. So artists inspiring artists, and that is like that is the revolution. Like, that literally is, it's not necessarily with fire and bombs. It's literally with like heart and paintbrushes and storytelling and everything like that, and bringing people back to their sovereignty and helping them see a better world, and knowing what's possible, both inside and out. Lacey, I'll pass it over to you, and any other additional thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up after that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I would suggest, if you haven't explored, like, anyone that's listening, like, pick up a book and go for a ride, like, see the magic that people have created. Literature, like reading, is I'm going to plug reading because I read a lot. Um, is a great way to inspire the artist within you. Um, there's one story that I would really like to. Oh, what is it? I didn't have it on hand. I'll look for it in a second, and then I'll share it so people can read it, because I think that it talks about being an artist. It's a really cool story. So yeah, definitely pick up a book, read something new and exciting, maybe something you might have never thought about reading. If you can, go out and buy paint and canvases. Just do things that you might have not done before, and give it a try, and just express yourself and see where it takes you. I'm giving this is like permission to do it, because I think a lot of people are like, oh no, like I don't want to do it, So I'm just gonna grab the book. 1 second.
Do that. No, and again, I think. Oh, did you already find it? Was it?
Yeah, I know which book it is. This story is by Arthur C. Clarke, and I've told you this story, Brendon.
Yeah.
And it's called The Road to the Sea. And it's just a short story, so I'm sure you can find it online. Super easy to read. Arthur C. Clarke did 2001: A Space Odyssey. He's an inventor, probably like a person that I look up to. Like, he is a person I look up to. Just an incredible artist. And this story is about an artist existing in the future, and what the world's like in the future. So definitely give that a read, and hopefully it inspires you. So
cool.
I wanted to share that. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, like moving forward from here, for both you and myself, I know there's still there's ongoing work to be done, but I think one of the best ways to approach it is to see it, there's the work is the play, and to really be able to give ourselves permission to show up for it in that playful energy practice, where it's something where we genuinely find enjoyment in being able to do it, and knowing that each and every single one of us will have different styles of expression that we will naturally gravitate towards, and to play and to try different things, and to We'll do a whole nother topic about this another time. The idea of being able to experience art through the expression of things like dance and ecstatic dance and everything like that. Both of us are big fans of ecstatic dance, and so just knowing that art is the act of spirit moving through you, spirit dancing through you, and to be able to experience what that is like for you, whatever it is. And then as you do that, again, you know, it allows you to just become more familiar with the nature of your being, which again brings us back to the heart cave, the magic of the heart cave. So yeah, we thank each and every single one of you for joining us as fellow wizards and for being a part of this discussion, and we hope it inspires you, and we hope that you had fun here. And Lacey, I'll just pass it over to you, and any other just things to end off with, and gratitude, and then we'll wrap it up there. So
Sure, yeah. I hope that this discussion inspires people to get out there and try new things, um, and to dance for sure.
mhm.
Um, just let this energy move through you and express it, whatever feels right for you, ultimately. And yeah, definitely connect with us. Connect with me if you'd like. Yeah, at the Paper Druid, you can find my art there. Lots to talk about, lots of cool stuff, dreams, and yeah. So thanks for doing this with me, Brendon. I really appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
fun.
This is fun, and again, like this literally here is art. Like this is art. You
Yeah,
know, we're this
yeah,
is art talking about art. So it gets very meta
yeah.
here, obviously, but again, you know, like for everyone here, like you, like if we were to end it on anything, it's like you are your art. So by you being your authentic self, and learning who you are as your authentic self, and again going through the process where you're removing the blockages and the egos and the old story, and maybe that's a topic for another time, it allows you to just to see who you are as you step into this process of being your authentic self, and then allowing the energy and the expression to naturally arise out of that, and knowing that yes, this world is a more magical place because of the art that you bring into it. So beautiful. All right. As Lacey said, please feel free to connect with us further. You can find us both on Instagram. All the information that you need for this is in the info for this video. I'm on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man. Lacey's at the Paper Druid. And both of us have a Patreon. You guys are welcome to be able to connect there. Lacey's got some really, really cool stuff. If you're interested in dreaming and upcoming ecstatic dance events and dream class, dream dojo type things, you can check that out. And if you guys aren't already familiar, you can check out my Patreon. That's where you can connect further with the stuff that I help support people with within our team of conscious media creators, which of course Lacey is a part of as well, and lots of other cool things. And again, both of us got an item shop, so any form of support is all equally appreciated. Even if you guys just want to share this with a friend, let people know what it is that we got going on, and it was a joy and an honor to be able to hang out and to inspire each other through the discussions that we have. And yeah, with that said, I think we're about ready to finish off. Is there anything else, Lacey, before we conclude this little art cave session?
No, that's it.
That's it. So cool. Okay. All right. Thank you again, everyone, so
All my
much.
love.
And until next time, we will see you back in the heart cave. And
Yeah.
remember, the magic is already within. So, okay.
Yeah.
Wizards unite. Woo, woo,
Heart
woo.
medicine. Yeah.
All right. Until next time, much love, everyone. Take care.
Bye.